Round 11 results. We are here. Both squads did okay. People squad did better than mine. Gained a few ranks in the people squad down to 2-1-5-3. And we actually lost our battle again. I believe we lost to the NRL Fantasy lads and they picked up a 980 odd. So another loss, another close one when 2 weeks in a row we've done pretty well. And obviously trade-ins this week didn't go terrifically with Drinkwater coming in for 33 and Oluwapu coming in as well. So we didn't have to use his loop at 29. Good result in the end. Yeah, we did trade in Lukey last week and he got an 84 in this one, which was great. And yeah, we could have gone for Billy Smith. That would have worked out better, but obviously Drinky with the coverage for round 13, we saw that as a better result there. And if you're looking at this squad, with Walshy potentially missing Origin, if the great man Ponga, the great maroon Ponga plays there, then we have our wing fullback set for 13, which is awesome. And then centre would be set as well with Lemuelu coming in for Manu in round 13. The halfback position is the one we need to look at. So it's Nikorima and Katoa at the moment, which, look, it isn't great, but it definitely would be something, and it is a good reason why we could hold on to these Dolphins. Both of them guys, we're not overloaded in that position at the moment, which is ideal. Edge position is something we have to look at. We do have Hosty and Lukey. Are they good enough to be 13 guys? Potentially. That's probably the thing is if you can get us a decent 13, but not a super strong one, like if we've got a mixture of these sort of 400, 500k guys in our squads that could do a job in 13, will that be the strategy that works? Because then in round 14, 15, 16, you have a lot of those guns we've held on the interchange and emergency for that week. They're ready to go for the next bunch of weeks. And obviously we do have a bunch of Origin players as well with Cleary, Haas, and Grant. We don't have Nico, which is helpful for that. Madison, potentially could play. We have Walshy's the potential as well. We're not sitting here with JDB in our team, which is a little bit of an issue, but having Payne Haas doing his thing is obviously great each and every week. So to hold on to Grant and to Haas, to have Walshy in there, was a terrific start to the week. And I suppose you look at this and go, oh wow, my team got a 940, this one got a 968, and the start that we had with Haas, with Walshy and Grant, you come out of it and go, oh, okay, it shows that the rest of the team obviously makes up a big difference there. And you look at that, my team had Lukey, this team did as well, and I was still able to almost beat this squad just with my other players, obviously with JDB being one of them, and a mixture of all the others, which we'll speak about in a tick. Obviously, Teddy in that game for me hurt as well, but overall, the squad's looking pretty solid. As I said, we're looking decent for that first buy round there. Our mids is probably lacking a little bit at the moment, considering we only have Madison, who will be playing in 13, and then we don't have a hooker at the moment that plays in 13. So that's definitely the two positions that we are going to need to look at. Every other position right now is full, which is awesome. So we're sitting there with 3 short at the moment, considering Hosty and Lukey will come into the starter. Lemuelu will come into the start as well, and we've got Buller Boyd, who won't be playing in 13. So something to think about there if we're looking to do really well. I believe we're still sitting at 18 trades and 117 in the bank. So it sets us up in a great position to be able to launch over the next few weeks. So great news there. Now, really, what trades will we be looking at? And that mid position is obviously a one now. If you haven't overloaded, then you've done well, and you've also got some options. You've got Tevez Tola, who comes in as the solo one. I think Tohu Harris in round 13 is going to be massive as well, considering we're sitting here with just Johnson in our side. From a Warriors standpoint, I think he's going to be great. And does that mean, do we pick up Tola this week and then look for Tohu in 13? They could definitely be a solo one, and both of those guys could come in and do a terrific job, especially with Tohu. And you see him, once they get through this bye here, is that they don't have another buy. They have 16 and then they have no other buys for the rest of that period. So that means that the Warriors guys and also the Dolphins are very valuable because, yes, they both miss the 16 game, which means you're going to have to trade around that. But they're both teams and both players there in Tohu and Lemuelu and those types of guys that are going to be keepers in their position that you can have for every other game there, which is going to be so valuable. So think of that. Keep that in mind when you're looking at your squads. I just wanted to say, for my little challenge I was going through with Game Day Squad, it's going to be my last video for them for the year, so a big thank you to them for helping support the channel. It's been very lovely. The guys that are these are all the guys that won the leaderboard for Game Day Squad this week in round 11, and I had my little competition, which actually had 30 people in it, so I hope you guys enjoyed playing in that first game that, if you've just joined, or for those that have been playing for the majority of the year, I know there's a few. There was actually the Mighty that came out and was the victor with 973 points. There was J-Rod in second and TMHTD in third. So 906 and then 756 there. So a big round for those two. And the Mighty has won that rare pack. So reach out to me in the Discord or in the my socials as well. The Mighty, I'm not sure who you are, but reach out and I'll get you that rare pack. So yeah, awesome work for you. And I do hope you guys are really enjoying Game Day Squad. It's been nice to play myself. Haven't got the best team going on there, but we'll be bigger and better over the next bunch of weeks and also heading into next year. So that is Game Day Squad there, guys. Thank you very much again. All right, so heading to my team, we had a 940. I'm obviously sitting with 16 trades, which is not exactly ideal, especially with the injuries that came out of this week. And we're obviously going to find out a little bit more over the next couple of days when team lists come out. But it was a tale of two halves with my squad this week. It was you went absolutely amazing or you went terrible. We have Johnson there, 71. We have Lukey with 84, DeBellin with 69. Cleary and Hines 79 and 86, and Bird with 65, and every single other player went under 50. Horsburgh was a trade in and had the sin bin, which I was very upset about, obviously, but he ended up with 48, and it's not the worst score ever, so that's fine. But Robson really underwhelmed. Trent Leoro was very solid. I'm very happy with his 47, but he has been scoring better than that, obviously. McInnes was a big down game for him, and he's someone now that those minutes, like his PPM's great, but the minutes aren't there. Now, especially the Finucane is back, and you would expect it with Oregon Kafusi being out as well in this one, that he would continue with some big minutes. But, Jack Williams played great, and he lost some minutes there. So McInnes is on chopping block, considering he's not around 13 guy. He's around 16 guy, but, I think I'm wanting to be holding guys that are going to be making good cash, whereas now with that 41, he goes back to a fairly high break even, or in the mid-40s, and he needs to score better than that to make the cash, and that's going to be harder for him to do that. Whereas people I do want to carry is either mid-rangers and cash cows that are going to make some money and potentially use them as a guy to play in a 13-14 scenario or 16 scenario, or keepers. That's all we're looking at here. So McInnes, I think now that he's made a little bit of cash, 50 odd for me, he falls into the bracket of neither, which means he is a potential trade out. But obviously something we do have to look at is the amount of trades we are using on a certain amount of players. So really, from here on, you want to bring in someone that's going to make a lot of cash or a keeper, as I've been saying. So Totola comes to mind. My issue now is that I'm really going to be wanting Mr. Tohu Harris, and do I spend one of those trades on Tevita Totola, or do I wait the week, spend the money elsewhere, hold that trade or something like that, and just get Tohu Harris at a price that's really, really manageable at just a fair bit under 700. So I think that's probably the play that I'm going to make. Hosking to be an interesting one if they actually name him, or if we look to trade him out now that he's dropped a fair bit of cash, and he should drop some more in this coming week. And Jermaine Hopgood is on my list of players. So I'm sitting there with 37 in the bank, and I think it's actually going to be hard to get Mr. Hopgood at 741. I can't go straight to him. So that's the frustrating part for me. It sounds like Valence Fade is not going to be playing this week with Branko Lee returning from his hammy injury. We're going to make some more money out of Katoa in this week coming, and then we'll work it out if we want to use him as another cash cow or cash maker in round 13, and he won't be as a starter in my side, or we just use him as a trade out in that week. So yeah, there's definitely a few different options to go with. At the moment with my mids, as I was saying there, I've got the two guys already playing in 13 in DeBellin and Horsburgh. Maybe, I suppose the other thing there is if DeBellin makes Origin, that does cause some issues for our side in that one. And we'll have to make a decision there with JDB or Horsburgh. So two of them now, if I did trade in Totola this week, then there's really no room for having Tohu Harris in 13 because I'd have to take out Totola as a scorer. So that's something to think about. And it could potentially just be around 13 decision once we find out Origin, once we find out suspensions and injuries, and can make that decision from there. But obviously I'm going to need another edge, and I think our guy Hopgood is going to be the play there who can cover obviously the mid and the edge. I won't need him for the mid, it looks like, but I'll need him for that edge position going into that week to partner Helam Luki, which is going to be cool. So centers I'm set with Lemuelu and Jack Bird. Wing fullback is not set, so we have Miller at the moment, which is our guy for 13, and that's a position now that very different to the people squad that we have to look at. And as I said, I'm going to go through the list here on the side of all the potential wing fullback options, and it could be Ruben Garrick time. It could be something like that we have to play with. But again, I'm looking for someone that's clearly going to make money and not just be a scorer to be able to help out during that period. And I need someone that's either a guy that's going to make you cash, cheapy cash, mid-range guy, or he's going to be a top gun. And I don't think that Garrick will make 100k plus, and he's not going to be a keeper unless he moves to the fullback position. So yeah, that's interesting and a decision I'm going to have to make. Obviously, the halves and that scenario here, I have a lot of them, and you can't obviously play them all. So in round 13 anyway, I'm going to have to get rid of one of Cleary or Hines, I think, and hold the other, considering I have Brown and Johnson to play in 13 as well. So yeah, that's another position we need to look at. Trent Leoro, he made a little bit more money again, but his break even goes up to about the 40 mark now, and he has to continue doing, hitting close to 50 to keep his prices rising. So yeah, guys on the chopping block. Obviously, it's hard to trade out Robson. That hooking position sucks, doesn't it? So, and then even Tanner Boyd had a bit of a low one this week. But McInnes on the chopping block, Hosking, Leoro, not as much. And then it is, Teddy potentially on the chopping block, but against Dragons this week, I can't trade him out, and there's just no other good option. Like, I can go him to Drinkwater, but what does that net me? Not much. And then everyone else in the interchange and emergencies, like we could go for Ikatoa, but he's been scoring a lot better than most people anyway. Olapu made the 19k this week, which is a good start. Brownie's done his job so far, and hopefully next week with Moses back, they can play a much better game of footy. Brandon Smith, we're just hoping that he's not injured. So really overall, we're in a solid position for the squad. We had a 940, as I said. Overall rank, we lost 51 ranks. So not the end of the world there. I thought it could have been worse if Hines went for 100. If McInnes went for 50, then we probably made ranks this week. But it wasn't to be. They very happy with Hines' 86, that's for sure. But McInnes, we could have got a little bit better. But as I said, a 262 rank at this stage of the season is still great, guys. We're not even halfway through the season. I think I'm a tad over 300 behind, which I'm going to go through here in the rankings and find out where we are at to round out this video. So yeah, I think it's like 320 or 310. I didn't really lose many ranks on Dion this week, who comes back into the top spot, a 970. So yeah, lost 30 points on Dion there. I was about, 310? Yeah, that's right. I was 310 away last week, and now I'm 345, which is, it's not ridiculous, but it's not great either, considering the squad values are very different. But Oho is moved up into second spot, and I have a better squad value than him. So that's something there. A good friend of the show, Brenton, is now with Talking League, which is very cool. 13.67 million. There's 500k difference. There's another gun, 300k guy to an 800k guy. So it's very hard to beat out these guys, obviously, but there is definitely some ways you can do it. It's just making the correct trades at the right time. You can get the jump on someone if you get that 1 week early. People got Harrison Edwards this week. There's massive cash rises. There's a good score. So you win that one. You win the Billy Smith battle, like a few people have, and you're in a great position as well. So yeah, that's where the top teams are at. But Dion, obviously a good week, and again, not a ridiculous amount of crazy scores across the league when you got Billy Smith getting 60, Fafita getting the 68, and having Hopgood and Haas up top to go along with Hines and Cleary as captain, and then Johnson sitting there as well. The squad there it's Katoa, it's Marshall King, it's Lemuelu, which means that they got through this week and still made ranks holding forward as well. So you just see the interchange and bench is just so strong when you have this type of team. So you just hope that these squads do make the wrong decisions and get a little bit unlucky to be able to catch up to them. And if you're in the top 1,000, there's every chance that you could come back and do a good thing. Sorry, this is it's the way when I cross out of it, it goes to the people squad and that position. So the people squad is actually 540 odd points, and I think I'm about 350 or something like that in my team, which we're going to look at all of our leagues now. So in the private group myself, I moved back from third to fifth, which is good news for the squad there, with a couple of teams going above 1,000. So a big shout out to those guys in the private group that came above me this week. We had Aobi come back into the second position, who was first at one point, but he got 1,028, and Will Danasi comes into the third spot. So we've got 5 guys here in the top 250, 260, whatever I am, 262, which is awesome. Unfortunately, we lose our great man Matty, who had a bit of a shocker at 885. Vinny comes through. Phil is still in the 7th position there. So, yeah, great work from everyone in that top section there. Pretty much it was only Lockie with the 894 and Matt, who went under 900 there. So, yeah, shout out to John, who got the 1,000 mark in that one. And as we said, end up beating Scoop in our Gargarov Champions League. I'm sitting 3rd in that one, which is good. Unfortunately for Scoop, yeah, 894, not his best week. But, yeah, he will bounce back for sure. We had Sam Manning, who I beat in head-to-head. We had the other one there, I got the same score, 940 versus 904. And then smashed him in the Revenge of the Broncos. So sitting good there. In the Battle of the Podcast, we'll round this out. I'm sitting 4th. Again, I was last week as well. And a few of the boys lost some ranking points. Mark had a 907, ends up at 66 overall. Stuart sitting at 176. So we're all very close in this position here, 941. Which does put me 327 behind first place. So it's really not crazy, to be honest with you guys there in that one. Ryan had a slightly better week. Chris had a good week there as well. Eddie, 960. TK had a big one, obviously, with the Eyeliner Man doing well and having Nico. And all the rest there, we had DeBell and Hopgood and Haas up in the mids. That's going to do it with Lukey as well and Johnson. So, yeah, to not have Cleary but have Johnson fill in that position. And, sitting there not having Teddy is gonna help you as well, and playing host. So that's worked out well for him. And, yeah, no one really had a shocker until you get down to some of the lower teams there, but a few bounce backs from Riley, Scott, and Jake down below there. So overall, still sitting in a good position. We are in the Battle of the Podcast. It's going to be fun to who wins out that one. Like, Mark's sitting in 66, and he is just a tad over 100 points, 108 points ahead of me. So, that's a couple of decent weeks from me to catch up to that. And then you're sitting there with a great opportunity to, play for overall honours. So that's all we're here for, is to have a chip in a chair, as they say in poker. Give yourself a chance, and these buy rounds do that each and every year. The amount of swings that happen here. So if you are down a little bit lower, guys, just know that you can change things in a blink of an eye. A couple of good captaincy options, a couple of good trade-ins, and you're off and away. Bang out a looper guy, something like that. You're off and away to get into a cracking position. And I wish you all the best of luck heading into round 12 of the NRL.